you say we start our show in Boston
Yes,
today?
fireworks.
We all had this one circled. Steph Curry and the Warriors, or should I say Steve Kerr and the Warriors,
here we go.
facing Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics here. I say Steve Kerr because, Janae, as we head to TD Garden, you can see Steve taking the floor. Take a listen to what it sounded like when he was announced in starting lineups.
The head coach of the Golden State Warriors is Steve Kerr.
I didn't know head coaches get that type of announcement. They know they so petty.
That is the definition of unbothered right there.
And then courtside,
wow. USA.
everyone is making sure Steve Kerr
Shade
knows
everywhere.
the energy here. But Buddy Hield has been off to just an electric start here for the Golden State Warriors. He has the most threes through the first 8 games with any franchise in NBA history.
It's kind of crazy to say that he's out shooting right now per game at 4 than Steph Curry.
That is
From
crazy.
3.
But Jason Tatum's jumper, it is looking good, Brian. And Steve Kerr calls a timeout.
And this is not the player that was there in July and August. Let's just be honest.
And look at Steve Kerr holding Steph accountable because that was a horrible show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Curry hits a nice 3 here.
Makeup.
Falls to the ground. Under a minute left in the half. Curry gets the steal, dribbles down to the other end, looking, and then finds Moses Moody there. This doesn't happen very often. Golden State led by 11 at the half and trailing by double digits. It's not a familiar spot for Boston. They really, though, Brian, turned it on in the third quarter here. Peyton Pritchard dropping his defender, kicking it out to Tatum for the 3.
What they do, they hit the threes. They were a little bit slow in the first half. Second half got really cooking.
But usually, Janae, this is where you think, okay, the Boston Celtics are going to be getting back into control. The Warriors, they held their ground.
Look, this game, I know we're seeing a lot of great offensive plays, but really was won by defense.
Absolutely. So here, I want you to take a listen to Tatum just downplaying the importance of this game. Here's what he said.
My entire career, people want me to be, louder. People want me to be meaner or whatever. One thing about Jason is, I'm always going to do what the I want to do.
All right, so he's going to do what he wants to do. The Celtics, they scored 41 points in the third quarter after only scoring 40 in the entire first half here. Peyton Pritchard with the 3. And all of this, Perk, sets up for an excellent finish. So under 7 to play, the Celtics up by 4. Derek White here has the ball. Boston now up by 7.
I mean, Derek White playing at an all-star caliber level, averaging 20 points this season?
You got to guard that man.
He was already turning back as soon as it left his hand.
Hey.
Golden State clawing their way back here, down by 1. Curry, nice little cut inside, gets that one to go as well. And all of a sudden, Golden State finds themselves back on top here, trying to create this separation. Janae, Curry.
Man, that was a tough finish. What I love about Steph Curry, he has not settled for threes. He attacks the paint. That float game was nice.
And when he is doing that, and there's so much attention that's drawn to him,
Boom.
he can kick it back out
More
to
on
Buddy
this.
Hield for the 3. Yes, more on this coming up in just a minute. Curry, Hield, they're loving it. The Warriors, they go into Boston to get the win. Here's Steve Kerr after the game.
Boston was, without Jaylen Brown and Porzingis, so this is not their best version of their team, but they're still damn good. So it's a hell of a win in a tough environment, and we had some guys out too. And again, I love our depth. I think we're built to withstand absences. We get a lot of guys who can come in and play big minutes for us and help us win games like these. So it's obviously a good win for us.
So the Warriors have now opened 5-0 on the road for just the second time in franchise history. The other time they did this, that's the year they went on to win an NBA record 73 games. But Janae, that team looked a whole lot different than this one. But maybe, is there a new Splash relative in town?
We're going to have to find a name for him, but we talked about this game as a test for both teams, but especially Golden State, to really see what this gut check could potentially be. And they absolutely handled this test. And what I love about this, y'all, is how they handled the dagger, the crunch time. So first, we're going to figure out a name for Steph and Buddy Hield, but as I break down the dagger, because this is a team that is #1 in the NBA in bench points, you'll see exactly why, especially in clutch time. So first, I want to show you this. It's time and score. It's 108-104, 2-possession game, 1 minute left, so every possession matters. As this play progresses, first, I want to show you the 2 guys. One, it's Steph Curry handling the ball, then it's Buddy Hield off the right wing. So what Steph is doing right here is he's probing. He wants to force a switch, and he gets it. What is a switch right here? It's him versus Al Horford. Yep, he knows he can blow by him. So as Steph attacks, watch, Al Horford gets beat. This is where we enter the danger zone. How many players are watching? 1, 2, 3 Boston Celtics, none more costly than one Jason Tatum, who is caught asleep. He is sleeping, watching Steph Curry, and this is costly because here, look at Buddy Hield. What he's gonna do is, typically when you have guards and you're moving on the perimeter, when I move, you move, just like that. You're attached on a string. So what he will do is he's gonna drift over as Steph attacks towards him to the right corner, and look how much space is available for him to operate. This man is a 51% three-point shooter, and guess what? That's all they wrote. There's the drift. Jason Tatum caught asleep. Easy bucket. Tough contest by Derek White, but nonetheless, it did not matter. And that was just 3 points out of 25. The Golden State Warriors, they scored 25 points in clutch time, their most in a regulation game in the Steve Kerr era. So that is truly, I know we hear it a lot, but by definition, that is strength in numbers.
Yeah, I mean, we talked, as you said, about this being a litmus test game, and the question heading into this one in NBA Countdown, Perk, was can they hang? Can the Golden State Warriors hang? They certainly did that. What did you learn about this team?
Well, what I took away from last night was, one, I was right. That's the most important thing ever, right? I was right. I was the only one that picked the Golden State Warriors.
You're Perk.
And damn it, they went out there and did.
Well done. There you go.
By Steph Curry. Okay, this defense was so refreshing. I'm telling you, watching the Golden State Warriors, the way that they pick up 94 feet, they get physical, communicating on the switches, from Moses Moody to Andrew Wiggins to Jonathan Kuminga, they are ferocious defensively. And look, they did an outstanding job last night without Podziemski.
Yep.
I mean, this team is real. And look, I would not be surprised if this team make it to the Western Conference Finals. I would not be surprised at all.
So here's what's so fascinating about this. Steve Kerr is using an Olympic-style game plan because the way the Americans play in the Olympics, they lean into the depth. They will do mass substitutions, and the reason they do that is so that their players can pour out energy on the defensive end. Steve Kerr is using 12 or 13 guys a night. He's averaging 7 different guys, averaging 12 to 20 minutes. They pour it out on the defensive end. They put on 27 double teams in this game. That requires a lot of activity level. So the guys go out there, they crush it on defense. And look, Steve Kerr said, Jaylen Brown wasn't here, Porzingis wasn't here. It's easier to double when you don't have those two options. It's easier to go at the basket when you don't have Porzingis. But it's actually Steve Kerr taking his Olympic experience, applying it to this team, and it's working.
Well, belief is a powerful thing, Mr. Windhorst. And so now this Golden State Warriors team off to a 7-1 start, 5-0 on the road. That's a very different tune than we've saying about this team as a road team the last couple of years. Having that we believe mentality for Golden State could be dangerous for the rest of the league. The Nuggets handed the Thunder their first loss of the season with a 124-122 victory. And Jokic became just the 5th player with a 20-20-15 game in NBA history. That hasn't been done much recently. Only Russell Westbrook has put up that stat line besides Jokic since Wilt Chamberlain all the way back in 1968. But Denver has had a tough start to the season. Do you think, Brian, now is the time, or are the Nuggets sort of turning into form?
This was a very important game for Denver because obviously they beat Oklahoma City, which they badly needed with Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray on the bench. But they did it with their young guys. At the end of the game, it was Peyton Watson, it was Julian Strawther, and it was Christian Brown out there. Mike Malone didn't have a choice. He had to trust them because of how depleted he was, and those guys delivered. If they're going to get to where they need to go, they need these guys to develop. Obviously, Jokic and their other stars are going to play a big role. But Malone hasn't always believed in these guys, and these guys haven't always delivered. This was a step in the right direction for them.
I can't believe you didn't mention Russell Westbrook.
Well, I left it for you, sir.
He's been more important to the Denver Nuggets this season than Jamal Murray has, okay? When you think about their 5 wins, 3 of those wins, you have to look at it. Russell Westbrook against the Nets, 22 points off the bench. A win against Toronto, he had 21 points off the bench. In the starting lineup last night, a 29-piece wing dinner, all drumsticks. And he shot 2 for 3 from the three-point line. So, look, you talked about Russell Westbrook, you know, what he gives you. He gives you swag. He gives you confidence. That's one thing that he don't lack. And when he's able to have a role that is elevated, we saw what happened when he left the Lakers and went to the Clippers, and he was the starting PG. he had a new breath of fresh air. This is the same thing I'm noticing right now with the Denver Nuggets. He's actually been playing pretty damn good.
But sometimes when you have drumsticks, you just need flats. You need a mix to match with that. You know what I mean?
All flats.
Jokic is the flats, y'all. Like, that's like the one that you can never miss with. Watching him play is so impressive. He makes defenses look stupid. That's what he does. He is a defensive magnet. He had, 16 assists? People just go to him like, is it the right time? They're doing this whole dance. Like, how do I double this man? And guess what? Once you do, he makes you pay. His teammates made shots. Again, I say 16 assists on top of that, 23 points, 20 rebounds. To me, his ability to be that defensive magnet, but also be a maestro when it comes to passing the ball. I know there's so many great contributions, but we're in this rare era where, like, he cannot be stopped when he's playing like that.
Yeah, and this is what you want to see from the Denver Nuggets. You're not really too worried about the Thunder. You knew it was bound to happen at some point.
Stephen Curry's stunning performance in the Warriors' victory was due to an often overlooked element. Steph returned to his best form against the Celtics. Less than 2 weeks ago, Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry left the court limping and headed straight to the locker room during the fourth quarter against the LA Clippers. There was collective concern after that game. Not only had the Warriors suffered their first loss of the season in their home opener, but there were also fears for Curry, who had twisted his ankle twice in the second half. Fast forward to now, and things couldn't be better for Golden State. Since then, they've won 5 straight games, the latest led by a brilliant Curry performance in a statement win over the reigning champion Boston Celtics on Wednesday. Stephen Curry's conditioning is an often underestimated element of the Warriors star's game. In his second game back after a 3-game absence, Curry scored 27 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, and handed out 9 assists on 8 for 17 shooting from the field and 4 for 9 from three-point range. The 2-time MVP scored 10 points, pulled down 2 rebounds, dished out 2 assists, recorded a steal, and blocked a shot in the final 8 minutes, helping his team finish with a 30-17 run to overturn a 7-point deficit and win by 6 points. Curry was so good, it's hard to believe that the injury against the Clippers happened just 10 days ago. At the time, there was concern that the 36-year-old might miss several weeks, especially given his history of ankle issues. Perhaps this worked in his favor, combined with his often underestimated physical conditioning, to ensure that his absence was not only brief, but that he barely missed a beat upon returning. Curry had a minutes restriction against the Washington Wizards on Monday, playing 24 minutes, during which he scored a game-high 24 points, along with 3 rebounds and 6 assists in the 125-112 victory. This minutes restriction was immediately lifted against the Celtics, with Curry playing over 30 for minutes 3 more than any teammate. This proved even more crucial as backup guard Brandon Podziemski was out due to illness after leaving Monday's game during the third quarter. Although we shouldn't be surprised after all these years, Curry's ability to defy physical concerns is an underrated aspect of his excellence. While others in their early 30s see a sharp decline in physical capabilities and overall performance, all-time greats like Curry and LeBron James continue to rewrite what's possible in defying father time.